employees, that should be the kind of people you should be hiring.
Excellent. And as a CEO, right, Chef, in your shoes today, what would be one thing that you would go back and redo if you could, or you would give to other CEOs out there just as advice? Because that's a very, very different role, right, from maybe other parts of the company. What would be one thing that you tell them?
I think one thing I would say is try to focus more on the execution, because I think many a times entrepreneurs, or I mean not just entrepreneurs, but I mean if you're even talking about managerial people, right? I mean they focus a lot on planning. When you keep planning, you lose out on time, you lose out on speed, and more often than not, your competitors are always moving faster than yourself. So one thing I would say, or one thing that maybe even for myself, if I can go back time, right, I'll focus more towards execution rather than planning things. I think one philosophy here is definitely that you can't be always 100% right on every single thing, right? So rather we go faster, but we compromise a little bit more in terms of the quality of the work. But we make sure that we move it faster, and at the point of time we are able to learn better than planning out something that might not even happen.
Right. And one thing I've kind of noticed in the industry, a lot of people start companies and they fail, but we only see the top 1% of, people that succeeded, right? Whether it was Bill Gates, Zuckerberg, Elon Musk. And we never see that other 99% that failed.
Mm-hmm.
And, everyone thinks there's a lot of misconception out there, right? That it's a straight path to the top. There are only a few bumps on the way, but truly, it's nothing like that. And so could you give us a little bit of insight on what has your path been since you started Bluenest? What are some of the struggles you guys have truly faced that have shown that it's not an easy path to start a company?
Right.
You're really taking a risk walking out and doing it.
Right. I think to your first point, when you mentioned that only the 1% of entrepreneurs are always out there, in the media, in light of fame, right? Whereas the 99% are always hidden. So I think that there was one article, talking about the difference between unicorns and rhinoceros, right? I mean, unicorns are the ones that are always out there, flying, but rhinoceros are the one that is usually in stealth, but growing really, profitably and at a sustainable rate. So I think I mean, of course you have different school of thoughts, and it really depends on, how you really want to run the business. And I think for us at Bluenest, we definitely want, to be really successful. But I mean, today, I mean, which company doesn't really want to be a unicorn? But I think for us, it's what we've realized here is that beyond just looking at how fast we capture the market share, how successful we are, but from day one we actually start looking at profitability, looking at our unit economics, because that's something that drives the business at the end of the day, right? I mean, who wants to do a business that loses money at the end of the day? So for us, I think there's definitely some struggles, at the early stage. I think one key thing was hiring. Especially when you're an early startup. Nobody know what Bluenest was exactly all about. Trying to convince a good talent to join an unknown brand was really tough. But I think we did overcome that. We share the idea. We are not afraid to keep talking to people, to share the idea. At the end of the day, we find people who are really aligned to the business model and with the kind of values that the team has. So one of the key things that I think one of the philosophy that I really hold closely to is that I would rather, not hire than to hire someone, who is not aligned to the business core values. And of course, another portion is, how do we grow sustainably? We want to grow fast, but yet we want to grow at a sustainable rate. So that's something that, we are definitely still trying to reiterate over time. I think at Bluenest today, we have gotten very good traction, although we are just 3 months old ever since we got a license. But, as of today, we have gotten more than 20 transactions already. That shows the kind of confidence of our customers have with us. But more importantly is, how do we make these 20 transactions into 40, into 100 at a much faster pace, but yet, monitoring our unit economics at the same time.
Excellent. And congratulations on that small feat that you guys had with those 20 plus transactions.
Yeah, thank you.
No problem. The one thing I wanted to touch on is this aspect of, as an entrepreneur, right? When you're starting a company or corporate, you face so much stress from all different directions, whether it's from the investor, the client, or your internal employees, right? And sometimes your family as well, right? You're maybe not having enough time to spend with your wife or kids, or etc. And what is it that you do every day, if you don't mind sharing, that centers you as a person before you start your job? That helps you, your meditation. What is your meditation for the day that helps you before you start your job every day, that you do, that you're like, hey, I'm going to tackle this way very positively. It's going to go well. And no matter what happens today, I'm centered and I'm ready to go.
Right. I think one thing that I really value a lot is personal time. So especially in the morning, before work, before I really get focused into work, I spend some good time alone. I think this is a good time where, I can really focus on, what are the big issues that the companies are facing, and what are the different projects running at the same time. Because especially in startups, early stage startups, you're like, you're running, you could be running multiple projects at the same time, 5 to 6 projects at the same time, and things can get really, really messy. So, spending I think every morning, spending some time alone actually helps me to think about, things on a bigger picture. Which are the projects that we should be prioritizing, how do we actually reassign, these projects to the different teammates, and, what are the things that, we should be really focusing on a daily basis. So that's something that I do. And I think that that's something that is very, very valuable, to every other, business owners out there, that we need to really stay focused. Because at the end of the day, like I've mentioned, you get pressure from investors, you get pressure from, your guys, your colleagues, your teammates as well. As a leader, as a business owner, you really need to keep focused and drive, everyone towards the same direction as what you want.
Sure. And also that, right, that pressure includes people looking up to you, right? Because everyone looks to you when things go wrong. Everyone looks to you, right? You are the face of the company in a way. And I guess to wrap it up here, Jeff, as we're running a tad out of time, is there anything I should have asked but I didn't? You have such an interesting background or personality. Anything you might want to mention about your hobbies or anything exciting?
That's a good one. Let me think about it. I think for myself, I'm someone who really likes to think about new ideas, and that's how I got myself into this entrepreneur space. Ever since when I was even in college, I've never stopped thinking about and observing what people are doing on a daily basis. Maybe to share something that is really interesting with you. When I was commuting to school on a daily basis, I do observe what people are doing. And what people are spending. I think, what are they spending their time on? And what kind of interactions are they doing? And with that, I try to think about what kind of problems actually exist in the community today. Because what I really believe in is, I want to create businesses that can really solve the problems of the community. And this is something that I hold very closely to myself. And I mean, even today at Bluenest, why I really have the passion for Bluenest and real estate is because real estate is something that is so close to every one of us. Every one of us needs a home. And I believe that, with this Bluenest, I think with this digital real estate agency model, we are able to really tap into the life of everyone else to make, property transactions so much better and faster than before. And that's what I really have.
Sure. And I can hear it in your voice. You sound very passionate. You're a true hustler at heart. So very, very nice to see that. And Jeff, you have such an interesting personality. It looks like Bluenest is in fantastic hands. And if investors or anyone wanted to reach out to you for mentorship, or if anyone was actually interested in working for you, how would they best contact you, Jeff?
Sure. I mean, you can either find me on LinkedIn, Jeff Lim, or my email address is jeff@bluenest.sg. So happy to connect with anyone else, who is really keen about not just Bluenest, but, real estate and startups in general. Happy to connect.
Excellent. And once again, guys, that is jeff@bluenest.sg. Thank you once again, Jeff, for joining us. And it was an honor having you on our podcast.
Thank you so much, Kunal. Thank you so much for your time and this opportunity as well. Thank you.
The podcast you just heard was made using Anchor. Ever thought about making your own podcast? Anchor makes it really easy for anyone to get started. It's a one-stop shop for recording, hosting, and distributing podcasts. Best of all, it's 100% free. Sign up now at anchor.fm/new. That's anchor.fm/new to get started.